Hello and welcome to a video on TCGplayer.com. My name's Steve Rubin. This week we're going with a blue-black Panharmonicon brew. This is kind of the first time that I am playing Standard since Rivals of Ixalan, because the Pro Tour was modern, and also the Magic Online Championship Series, which I'm qualified for, is also modern. So I've been playing a ton of modern, but GP Memphis is coming up, and I'm looking to kind of step into this new Standard format, and there's a lot of different decks, and something that kind of caught my eye was a mono black Panharmonicon deck that was on MTG Goldfish that seemed pretty sweet, and it definitely seemed pretty powerful, and I really like just having great mana and playing with Ravenous Chupacabra, who seems pretty awesome. But I think also that Scarab God is one of the best cards in the format, and it's pretty... it's not insane not to play it, but when you play it, you're just subject to so many wins where you just play a Scarab God and your opponent isn't way far ahead, so they lose. So playing a bunch of Scarab Gods is pretty awesome. But this deck definitely was not, was not something that I was expecting to be that good. But sometimes, when you're starting new in a fresh format, it's good to brew at first. Like for testing for the Pro Tour, lots of times we do some brews early. Normally they get kind of messed around and we tune them, and they get messed up and we tune them, and eventually they're either abandoned or not. This one I want to, I'm starting fresh in this Standard format, so I want to kind of get my brewing out of the way. So let's go ahead and get into this deck. We have 25 lands, and the mana base is pretty awesome. We're allied colors, so we get like the Buddy Drowned Catacomb type land, and we also get cycling lands and random tapped Submerged Boneyard, and a heap of basics with 3 Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin is just important so you can kill Legion's Landing, and it's actually, if you're playing Fatal Push, generally you want to play Field of Ruin because that gives you a free... It's kind of like your Evolving Wilds that doesn't come into play tapped to allow you to kill like Thrashing Brontodons and stuff like that. So that's pretty much why we have the three Field of Ruins. 25 lands is a bit light for a deck that's trying to like go pretty big, but this deck plays 4 Dusk Legion Zealots and 4 Champion Wits, and these are kind of like your early game speed bumps, draw you cards, filter your draws. A lot of the times Champion and Zealot feel kind of underpowered, but they kind of just give that deck the consistency to be able to hit its lands, and realistically all you really want to do is go 4 drop, 5 drop every game, so those help you do it. Champion of Wits also gives you the insane like grind game in any sort of control matchup or any mid-range matchup. Just the ability to eternalize this or return it with Scarab God is super huge, so that's why you have it, and they both work with Panharmonicon, obviously. 4 Kitesail Freebooters. Now this looks weird because the Gifted Etherborn is there. Freebooter is just an awesome card. Like, it's just pretty good at disrupting the opponent a little bit and giving yourself some information, and also just providing you with an early like card that's actually not a terrible blocker against the aggressive decks. But the ability to strip removal is really good because it protects your Hostage Taker and your Scarab God. So, for instance, you want to take their Abrade so you can get a Panharmonicon or a Hostage Taker. You want to take their Vraska's Contempt so you can Scarab God them. So it's kind of just like a set it, like Spellskite kind of thing that also attacks for 1 and blocks pretty reasonably. 1 Gifted Etherborn. This is just to keep the early game consistent. And having a little bit of life gain is nice in any deck where you're playing with Dusk Legion Zealot. A lot of matchups they come in, and it's possible that you should play the Gifted Etherborns instead of the Zealots, because in any aggressive matchup, the Etherborns are good, but the Zealots are pretty... I'm not going to say they're insane, but they're just nice in this strategy because help you hit your land drops, and once you have your Panharmonicon online, you draw 2. So 4 champions have been over there. Banewit Punisher is actually surprised me how good it was against any aggressive deck. It's kind of just like a 2-for-1. You kill a Bowmat, you kill a Toolcraft Exemplar, that kind of thing. You kill, even like killing the Legion's Landing token is good because then you're left with 2/2 that blocks the rest of their guys. But it also kills a Glorybringer. It kills a a Ripjaw Raptor if you play against something like that, just for 4 mana, which is not insane, but definitely not bad. 1 Harvester. There's a mix here is important because you can definitely have too many Banewhip Punishers. I think that Harvester is pretty good when you have your pseudo, when you're like an all-creature deck. And having life gain, I think, is really nice because it's very good against mono red. Dusk Legion Zealot gives your Dusk Legion Zealots a way to interact in combat, basically, by crewing this, which is nice. Now, this is kind of the hilarious 4-drop section where you have so many 4s, and I'm not sure which ones are good or bad. So you have 3 Chupacabras and 3 Hostage Takers. I think it probably should be 4 Hostage Takers, 2 Chupacabras, but against, like, mono red, for instance, it's weird because Hostage Taker does kill Hazoret, but can be a liability because they can just kill it to get their guy back. You know, if they have an on-crop Crasher, you'd much rather Chupacabra it than have to risk Hostage Takering it. Similar thing goes for Glorybringer, so that's why there's a 3-3 split. Just haven't quite figured out what's right, but they're both super powerful. They're both really good at Panharmonicon. Gonti, originally I was planning on playing 8 of these Necrotals, but it's just way too many. And Panharmonicon is kind of there to make them do double duty, and Scarab God can return them. So the Gonti is in there because there'll be matchups where they don't have a creature, or there'll be games where they don't have a creature in play. And you can't just only have 4-drops that require your opponents to have something in play. So having the Gonti, obviously you can play Panharmonicon, but having the Gonti is nice because it gives you a different option. Also go with Panharmonicon, 3 Scarab Gods, pretty straightforward, the card's awesome. 2 Noxious Gearhulks. These are pretty reasonable. Just giving you some more life gain to help you stabilize, and it's also just the huge stabilizer off of Panharmonicon in a mid-range matchup. So that's why he's in there. It's actually possible that he's just a bit too expensive, and you should play more cheap stuff. But that's kind of that portion of the deck. Sideboard 3 Gifted Etherborns for like mono red, monsters, Mardu vehicles, 2 Harvesters. Basically, the main deck is designed to beat mid-range, and then the sideboard is kind of designed to be good against control and aggro, and that's it, because you're kind of pre-boarded against, not pre-boarded against mid-range, but like you just have a lot of tools against mid-range. So 3 Etherborns, 2 Harvesters, and a push. Like I said, just against mono red, against the green-white aggro. There's a lot of different aggressive decks. Black-red aggro, and the Gifted Ether. All these cards are just great against them because if they don't have an immediate answer, they're in trouble, and we can board up to like 7 of these cards with freebooters. So a lot of the times, you just completely stuff them early, and then you start Flame Tongue Cobbling all their stuff, and you win pretty easily. 1 Gonti. It's important because some matchups like Chupacabra might be bad. Like if you play against a pure control deck, you might want to board out some Chupacabras and some removal, and you need enough cards to bring in, and this is also really good against other mid-range decks. So we have a Gonti, then we have 2 negates because I think it could be right to actually play 4 negates or 3 negates and 2 duress, because I think the gate is actually superior right now against the control decks than duress, because they just have a lot of sweepers. Like blue-white has like Settle and Gearhulk and Fumigate, and it's really, you really want to like force them to tap the mana and then negate it when they don't necessarily expect it to like get in for lethal or whatever. So not sure about this split, but this is for control. This is for like gate decks. 2 Dispossess. I see a lot of people play Lost Legacy, but Dispossess is just for Gate of the Afterlife, obviously, and it's kind of weird because I feel as if now that they banned Ferocodon, I thought that Gift would be like the best deck because it kind of preys on these mid-range decks that just only play creatures and don't have that much interaction. But I suppose just like a Braids and Hostage Takers and Glorybringers are all good against that strategy. So maybe these aren't necessary, but you get a lot of bang for your buck for this, you know? So if you ever strip their gates or their gift, or like whichever one you choose, that's obviously really good for you. 2 Vraska's Contempt. This is actually also part of the mono red suite because it's the only card that like without other than Die Young, but we can't play that. That kills Hazoret, and it kills Glorybringers, and it also now it kills Hazoret and Ashcloud, not Ashcloud Phoenix. I don't know what it's called, the Phoenix. So it's pretty important. So that's pretty basic sideboard. I haven't gone too deep into it. I think Duress is probably bad, but Testing, we'll see. I mean, it's obviously always good against control and any refurbished kind of combo deck. So that's blue-black. The Panharmonicons are kind of funny because you'll see in the video what happens. I actually am doing this deck after because I kind of want as much information as possible. So we'll see what happens with the Panharmonicons. Thanks for tuning in, and see you later.